Welcome back to Epic Life. I've missed you. I'm so glad you're here today, and I can't wait for you to join me on our epic hike up the Trail of Submission as we've been doing this book study from the book The Map, The Way of All Great Men by David Murrow. So today we are getting into Trail Marker 2. If you missed Trail Marker 1 in the intro, no worries. You can go back and you can pick up where we left off last time. And Trail Marker 2 today is called Depending on God to Provide. Depending on God to provide. Now, that's an interesting statement. When you think about that, God and provision, what does that look like for us? So, what's the lesson for us today? The second lesson of discipleship when it comes to the trail of submission is this: rely on God to meet your needs. In David Murrow's book, he actually references a quote by a man named Andrew Murray, and I love this quote. I want to read it to you. The quote is, "God is ready to assume full responsibility for the life wholly yielded to him." Let's read that again. God is ready to assume full responsibility for the life wholly yielded to him. So, when you think about this in the sense of like in the Bible, we have the visit of the Magi and then Joseph taking Jesus and Mary to Egypt. Like when you think about that entire story, first and foremost, you got to remember that after Jesus was born, like that night, the wise men, like we always learn about in church, didn't actually come the same night Jesus was born. They actually kind of came, and take this with a grain of salt, of course, they kind of came when he was about 2 or 3 years old, right? Scholars debate it. And when they came, those gifts that they brought, right? We always think about the 3 kings, which, by the way, there's no definitive proof that it was just 3 kings. But anyway, those 3 kings brought gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh, right? Those gifts would have played a huge role in the provision for Jesus and his family. Because soon after that is when Joseph is told in a dream by the angel, run away to Egypt, get out of here, to save Jesus from, unfortunately, Herod having his soldiers kill the infants that were under a certain age in Bethlehem. So, we see there Joseph, an excellent man of God, submitting to God, right, to take care of Jesus. Which leads us, of course, to our prayer for this. So, the second prayer of a disciple of Jesus on the journey of submission should be this one: God, in what areas of my life am I not depending on you? What areas of your life are you not submitting to God? Are you not depending on God to provide? Is it the area of finances? Is it in the area of relationships? Area of friendships? Maybe it's something to do with you're feeling God's prompting, calling you to do something new with your life. Are you depending on God to provide if you choose to follow him? I love the fact that I've heard people say before, God will, I'm trying to think of the quote here. It's this idea that God takes full I know what it is. God takes full responsibility for our obedience. So when you obey, let God take care of the consequences for your obedience. Which leads us today to our good practical stuff. Are you letting God take the responsibility for the consequences of your obedience? So I want you to think today, are you letting God take responsibility for the consequences of your obedience? They always say no good deed goes unpunished, and in so many ways that really is true. But here's the thing. When you choose to do something godly, something honest, something truthful, something that honors God and honors our neighbor, God will take care of the consequences of you taking that step forward. So on this journey, let God take responsibility for the consequences of your obedience. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you tune in next time for Trail Marker 3, and we'll see you then.